Christmas years ago. Has Christmas changed much for you since you were chaps?
Oh, well, Christmas Day would have been, yes. You'd be looking forward to Christmas Day in a big way.
Yeah, well, Christmas would have changed the fact that it's nearly 6 weeks earlier now they're starting.
Yeah.
Christmas with us would be starting maybe 2 weeks or a week. You'd be getting the holly and getting prepared. Right. You wouldn't be getting Christmas wouldn't be coming a month or 6 weeks beforehand.
Well,
like,
there was no advertising then, like now.
No, none whatsoever. No, and
like big supermarkets and big shops all.
The decorations then in the older house at that time, I know our dresser like what you had there. Yeah. There wouldn't be a sprig of holly here or there. Yeah. But it had be paved with holly from one end to the other.
All around.
Yeah.
Yes,
and behind every picture on the wall and the paper decorations then.
That's right.
In different directions across through the rafters, do you know?
And then my mother, I remember in the old house up there, she'd have the whitewash brush out beforehand. And that's right. Everything she'd have gave the little dairy in particular. That's right. A little dairy went in there at the side of it, Mick. That's right. Remember? Yeah. And well, you mightn't have seen that bit because there was I put a back kitchen in the house. Yeah, yeah. Sometime after that, but she'd have that. Yeah. And the holly had been there as well. Yeah, the holly had been, and there was. Yeah. On the Christmas, you always had to. I don't know what way you use, you see, because Tommy is Protestant, I'm Catholic. Church, you know, I don't know what way, but we would always have to get an early mass, or maybe 2 masses on a Christmas morning. The masses round. One, they went from one mass straight into another. Oh yeah. I know how to guess it. And that time, it was a hired car. The only time you get a lift in a car to mass in my time was when you hired a hackney man out of Gorey. Oh, he'd come out specially for that morning, like. Yeah, and he'd drop us in mass. I know. And he'd head back out then. We were in that mass. He'd go back out and pick up somebody else in the country and have them for the next mass and bring us home. Run yours back from the first mass. Like a shuttle, Well, what I seen happening here, I remember going, my mother, you helped the pawnhead up there. There was a little stable off down the yard. Yeah. She'd up the Moll was her name. Yeah. And she'd put the tacklings on her there. And this would be about 7 in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning, that's right. And we'd head for Inch. Yeah. Church. Yeah. We'd go to church. That's right. And there was a little house here opposite the hall in Inch there now, where the hall is now. Yeah, Bill Hughes was in it for a while. Yeah, there were hemping stalls. There was, and was there wards in it? I don't know. There could have been. There was wards there, well, which before that, they were there after that, I think. Yeah. And she'd put the pony in there, and we'd walk down the road to the church. Yeah. Get church there. Yeah. And on the Christmas day then, there was the parlour at home. I don't know what we use it for, but the one day of the year that we were in the parlour, the Christmas dinner was in the parlour. And there was a fire lit in that, and that was that day. Yeah. There's not that difference between the Catholic and the Protestant. Not a lot, no. But the goodies on the table would be oranges, a few oranges, and you'd have a good dinner and everything going around. Them little everything were on there, like. Yeah. And we were a special day. As chaps, you had to believe in Santa, even though when you didn't, because if you become a bit doubtful, then you mightn't score. Your score would be limited. I'd be getting light, yeah. Well, I remember one Christmas here while we were talking about Santa there. Yeah. Myself and the Whitmer family down the road were very great. Yeah. Willie Whitmer, he's around my age, like. Yeah. But remember, I only got something very small here from Santa Claus. Yeah. And of course I met him maybe that evening or definitely the next day, and he had got a better toy from Santa Claus. Yeah. I was raging here with Santa for what he brought me, like, compared to what he got. Yeah. It was only a small thing at the time. Well, that's the same. I remember, I don't think Rebbe mentioned names, but a lad that I went to school with, I remember him on a Christmas morning, he'd say, well, what else did you get? Do you know? Oh yeah.
you got the one thing, like.
You've only got the one little item.
No point in me looking, and it depended on the size of the family, like, you know, so.
Another year, I remember here I was mad about my father being a carpenter as well.
Yeah.
He used to make, had his little workshop up there, and I remember he made me a little horse's car. Yeah. With 2 little wooden wheels. Yeah. You know, something bigger than what Christy makes.
I know it, yeah.
And geez, I was made up with this fella, like.
Oh yeah.
Santy job as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Because the goodies would be scarce enough. We're talking back.
Sister there would probably get a doll or little pram or something like. Yeah.
But like the ties would have been scarce enough that time. We're going back.
Well,
50.
I'm probably going back a good bit
50, 60 year.
Huh?
60 year, we're going back 60 year now, you see it, what you're down behind you.
If we can remember Santa, like.
Yeah, 60 year more. Yeah. Well, there's not a big gap between us at all.
Well, God, Santa Claus, the time if you could see a photograph of him on the paper or anything, sure, you'd be made up.
Made up, yeah.
Coming up to.
And I was amazing how I sort of believed how he sailed up the roof and down the chimney. And
sure, that was an awful wonder how that all happened.
Did you when you were writing your letter to Santa years ago, did you put it up the chimney or where did you put it?
No, we
give it to your mother, maybe.
We left it. I don't know whether we left it on in a
right,
boat or a shoe at the fireplace.
You'd leave it somewhere, yeah.
The ties were well. With us, the ties would be left around the fireplace around.
Oh yeah, that's right, because
you know. But that time even the writing was light enough. Still is with me maybe, but you'd be drawn on a bit of when you're a child. You're drawn. You try make a tractor or a horse or.
Oh yeah.
Sketch of what you might want.
This would be something you'd have you'd be
have a want
kind of planning to get from Santa.
And it didn't always happen either. Like it
didn't always happen. No, it didn't happen with me anyway.
Sometimes before the letter would be written or the drawing would be done, Santa's stuff would be in transit at that time. It'd be already purchased.
It'd find it be somewhere.
Yeah, and it couldn't be changed.
Yeah, I know there were great times though because that day, it was a special day, and that's that. Like you were playing with whoever you got, and
well, I don't know
about mother and all. They'd be sitting around as well. There was no work or anything done. And
I don't know about your end of it, maybe, but I was always. You were always, no matter how small it was. On that day, you were as happy as Larry, you know.
Oh yeah, of course you would. Playing with whoever you got,
like. You got, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But if it was only, it wouldn't matter, whatever. Yeah.
And did you put up the decorations come a couple of days beforehand, was it?
Oh,
they were put up, they were maybe put up the week before, you know.
That's all.
Yeah, only the week before, yeah.
And did you take them down come the little Christmas?
They were taken down.
They'd be left there.
They were taken down Old Christmas Day. Is that what we call it?
Was it many days after Christmas? Is that 12 days? 6 days?
12 days, yeah. 12 days after Christmas.
Well, yeah, the 6th of January.
6th of January.
Yeah, they were left up till then. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever was put up was
taken down. Yeah.
Do you remember your mother's having another dinner on Little Christmas?
No.
No.
Our next. Well, I don't know about yours, Tommy, but our next kind of a feast would be Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday.
Because during Lent that time you had to give up.
All right.
You know, an awful lot of things, and you broke free then. You broke your own hook then on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, we hadn't that part of it now.
All right, yeah.
No, the Church of Ireland didn't.
Yeah, we had to. Well, you had to give up something. You had to give up whatever.
But then there was lots of the Protestant people gave up as well, though.
Oh, they did, yeah.
They've done the same thing in their own way, like.
Give up, drink or whatever.
Say you were drinking, you'd say, oh, I'm going to give up drinking now, and you'd hear lads saying, I'll be a smoking. By Jesus, I'll give up that smoking.
And that time, during Lent, there was no dances in the Diocese of Ireland.
That's right. There was no dancing. That was an awful thing, of course.
And there was a big hullabaloo here because the dance hall was an inch. And we couldn't go to Cortown But Inch was in the Diocese of Dublin and the dances went on in
Oh
Inch.
yes, you could go there if you wanted.
Only a mile or two down the road.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't. The parents didn't agree with you going to Inch, like, you know, because in your diocese there was no dancing, so you weren't supposed to.
Oh yes, you'd be supposed to go by the rules, and that was that.
But even.
But I said there was probably lots.
The rules were broke, yeah.
I said the rules were broke.
Yeah, you didn't publish it, but
because you'd have your eye probably on.
You would.
It mightn't be the hall you'd be after. Like.
Oh no! But you see, if you didn't, you could lose ground if you didn't keep going.
Lose ground.
Yes, you could, you know, see all the snags and the problems you can
Yeah, that is true, that way.
And then when you come home, to not put your foot in it and say, I seen some lad in Inch, or I was talking to some lad in.
Oh, sure, you could.
What were you doing in Inch?
Yeah.
So because Inch was in the Diocese of Dublin, there was a loophole there.
There was a loophole there.
There was a loophole.
The dances, I tell you, Inch Hall thrived during Lent, didn't it? Because I had no opposition other than art law. But as regards the ballroom in Cortown or...
Oh no, you wouldn't be, no.
Creameries Hall or any of them, or Gorey, there was a dance hall.
But sure, there was supposed to be a great place. I never was in it now. The hall in Castletown, there beside the church. It's in bad repair now. So. You ever danced there, Mick?
The hall in Castletown?
Yeah.
No. Johnstone you were thinking of?
No, Castletown.
Castletown.
Just right below it's an old building that's in ruins now.
Oh yeah, it's not.
No, beside the church there. It's just below the church.
Oh yeah, that was the old church there. Was it? That was the old church.
Well, yes, but there was
the old church? No.
They must have converted that.
They converted the church into a hall.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It's the old church.
I remember certain lads talking of going out to dances
that's
there.
Right. Yeah, that was in the old church. The ruins of it's still there, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was, who was this used to collect on the door there, and there was a certain man come with his, could be a fiddle or maybe accordion.
That's right.
And he'd play with her.
Yeah.
There were no one meant for the job, like.
Oh yeah. Was there
of course, that was a whole yearly, getting away from Christmas now.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a dance in Inch Hall on Christmas night years ago? Someone was telling me.
Don't know about that. But see, Inch Hall now.
Again, Inch Hall, you see.
Inch Hall probably wasn't there, Mick, in the early days that we are talking about here now.
Inch Hall would have been, well, there was an open dance floor in Inch.
Remember the open air floor there?
Yeah,
the dance floor in Inch. I danced on that myself.
And we're talking about that was in the 50s, wasn't it?
Was it?
Or the early 50s, 1950.
Well,
1950 onwards.
Well, middle 50s.
No, I've been there, I've been there. I would have been there in the early 50s, no.
And would you be, you weren't?
No.
You wouldn't have been dancing there then?
I wouldn't, no.
You'd have been too young then.
Well, there was
You'd be...
I wouldn't... Your age? Yeah, I would have been that big. Because...
You'd be a bit younger than I am, you say.
There was a dance floor in the Barnland as well, you see, that time.
Huh?
There was a dance floor in the Barnland.
Yeah. I never danced on that now.
I didn't either, but we got as far as within a field of it. You could sit down for summer's evening and listen to the music.
Listen to the music.
Yeah, but you never were allowed down. There was things going on at the hall that wouldn't be on the dance.
Yeah.
Which would be...
You weren't...
no, as chaps anyway, yeah.
And come here to me...
No, I wouldn't have danced on the dance floor either, sure. No, I wouldn't. Sure. No, you wouldn't.
No.
Because there was a kind of a curb on you there, you didn't.
Yeah, sure, there was different times. And
yeah, they were different completely.
Yeah.
The priest or the clergy would be knocking around as well.
Oh, they would, and they always went even to the halls, like to the pier in at some stage.
Oh, big up the wood.
Yeah,
yeah. That's right, the hall, yeah.
And they were respected that time, you know, you didn't run amok while they were hanging around there, you know.
No, you don't have to,
In your Palace then, there was another dance hall in Palace. Just over the road.
That's right.
The old Creamery
was the old Creamery.
Yeah.
Was it the Creamery before that? Like, yeah, the Creamery was gone.
Oh, then. Yeah, there were only, I was the Creamery building, like, converted into a dance hall for a while, yeah. Gone long.
Remember, yeah, what do you call him?
Jack
Redman, he run dances in there for long.
Yeah.
Don't know whether I was in
I think Jack owned it, he bought that from the Creamery, you know.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, into a hall.
I think I went on for a long time with him.
Oh, well, it went on a long time, yeah. But at that time they were all going to the dances on bikes. There'd be an odd van there, and other than that, like
that's right.
All either walking or on bicycles.
Yeah. Oh, push bikes was done a way short to travel. You did a walk or ride your bike.
Exactly, yeah.
Then the Ferguson tractor came out, of course, early ones, and they were drove a little bit.
It was a tractor in the car. There was a great job.
There wasn't a whole lot then.
There wasn't, no, but still. And you could have 5 or 6 lads hanging on it, going to the dance and going home. Yeah.
You'd bring the tractor to the dance, would you?
Oh yeah. We brought the tractor to Mass for years too. I even remember
we had a little board across the back of it there.
The board on the back of it and a seat across at the top link, and there was no cab or anything, you sat up, and there was lots. There was Pat Kinch at the park down there, he had a tractor. Johnny Boland, Red Johnny Boland below.
Oh yeah.
He would have been Bromley Palace, he brought his tractor. Be a few tractors lined up, and then there was a particular guard arrived in Gorey, and he tried to stop it.
Oh, I saw, yeah.
It wasn't. It was an agricultural.
She wasn't used
for. It was 5
for
shilling tax and whatever on that time, and it wasn't what he didn't want him to be used for. I think he was shot down on that anyway. He didn't.
I'd say he was at that time.
So Mick, your mother and father and your brothers and sisters would all go to Mass on the tractor?
That's right, yeah, all go on the tractor, yeah. And I remember my mother and father going visiting, going up to the Hurler here, and to Jack Higgins of Crocon and to Graham's of Crocon.
Yeah, they were,
that was their transport.
They used to go to Murphy's now.
Murphy's at Hurler, yeah, and Graham's up here at Crocon. Jack Keegan, remember Jack?
Oh, poor Jack.
Because Anna Mary, Jack's wife, was the first one of my mother's, you see.
Oh yeah, she was a Murphy.
And Ray had a Mrs. Graham as well. She did Graham's and Mrs. Gale, she was a Muffy Gilroy, yeah.
Oh,
so that tractor done that. And it was a great Ferguson, TVO Ferguson. New in Colliers in 1954.
54.
Yeah, and I tell you what, not alone, you'd be proud how your transport that time going with it.
Yes, you had a tractor at that time. It was a big thing to have.
Big thing, yeah. So there's a nice seat on the back of it, and my mother still had a seat on the back, and he went off. Yeah. Once the tractor arrived, the pony was
left there.
The pony was redundant, yeah.
But
did that happen overnight?
It happened nearly overnight. The tractor at home was bought in 1954, I told you, and very shortly after that, then there was an auction, and the horse carts were sold, and the 2 horses were sold.
Ah, God.
And the pony was sold.
That was a bad day, really. To leave them living.
Well, they had to be sold to get the money.
Oh yeah, this is it too.
Yeah, because the money would have been borrowed to buy the tractor. I remember a tractor, and the tractor, this carrow and a plough were all bought at the one time.
That'd have been big stuff then, Mick, in 54 then.
Tractor was £450 new.
Yeah.
The plough was 75, I think.
Yeah, 75.
£75 for a 2-sod ransom plough, because there was a wheel on it. It was £6 extra or something, and
for the wheel.
And the disc carrow was near enough £90 at the time.
That'd be semi-mounted harrow, of course.
And every little thing you talk about, things being extra on cars and all. The lights on your tractor at that time were extra.
That's right. The Ferguson come out then with no lights, really.
Some of them out with no lights, some of them out with one light up on the but all that stuff, if you wanted to drop them off, just a few pound knocked off the price of the tractor. And it was the same with the plough. My father ordered a plough without the wheel because the wheel was £6 extra, and when the plough arrived, it had a wheel on it.
Yeah. Well, was there some little story? I think I heard Jimmy talking about that he started ploughing one day with the wheel on.
With the wheel on, yeah.
And the tractor wouldn't
walk.
No.
Because the Ferguson tractor had
she had such good depth control.
Control. Not like any others. They didn't need the wheel. And because of the control being worked from the top link, when the pull come on the plough, it activated the lift. And it kept working, kept the traction on the back.
Massive that time,
And what you wouldn't see now, you could see €130,000 tractor coming into a field, and youngsters going the road wouldn't even look in.
They wouldn't look ahead. No.
And I remember the day that tractor arrived at home.
Yeah. I bet you there was
I
lots
was
of
like
neighbours
I
coming
was
to
like a
the
football
cottage.
match.
Huh?
I was like a football match.
Football
The field
match.
filled up nearly with
Is that
people
right?
looking at the
Oh yeah. Well,
looking
the
at
sight of a new Ferguson tractor, sure.
and the smell of the paint.
Big stuff.
And the 2 horses was for ploughing. Our 2 horses, that was their last ploughing in the field beside it. They were ploughing away as well. In the
Aye.
field beside it, yeah.
Ah, with the hawk, it must have been a lovely
So
sight, sure.
that was the,
Oh God.
yeah.
The hell
So
of
that's
a-
the story, and the tractor served as a car, and the tractor took over from the pony and the horse and the
Yeah, well, the same most farmers that time, if you bought a tractor, you couldn't buy a car. And if you bought a car, you definitely wouldn't have a tractor.
No, and another thing about
So the tractor was more of a yoke to buy because you were able to do a bit of shopping and
yeah, and you
things
could keep
with the tractor.
you could keep another couple of cattle because the pony and the 2 horses took a lot of feeding,
Oh yeah.
and the tractor didn't. Once the tractor come, you could keep a few extra cattle
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was less demand on the
Got
winter
the
feed and
fact,
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So there was big changes that happened,
Yeah.
and that happened sort of quick, like, you know, because
Yeah.
everyone had I don't know whether you remember or not, but I think there was 3 Ferguson tractors arrived, possibly. There was 2 of them arrived the one day. Ned Byrne, Ned Byrne, your neighbour.
Oh yeah, Ned down here, yes.
Their
yes,
tractor,
Ned,
tractor and ours arrived the
Aye,
one.
did it?
Arrived the one
Oh
day.
yeah, Ned and Eamon there.
Yeah.
Ned and Eamon.
Yeah, and Mort Sullivan in the Barnland then.
And what about Dick Malloy? Did he buy one that time?
Dick Malloy, don't even behind you one, but Dick Malloy would have had a tractor maybe Dick Malloy, I'm thinking of John Malloy now. Dick may have
Oh, Dick up here,
Dick
that's
at
good.
Skin Shed, he could have had,
I think so.
yeah. So there was
Not sure.
and once the Grey Ferguson colliers, once one arrived in the country, they took off then, like.
Oh yeah, once one like
And the
saying
Fordson tractor that time, the standard Fordson,
Yeah.
was nearly like the horse. He
Yeah.
was made redundant.
Oh yeah,
Once the Ferguson
the
tractor.
Ferguson done away with him too. Well, I remember going here to buy a Fordson with my father.
Yeah.
We wanted to get into some little, it was only a second-hand tractor now we were
Yeah.
after the time. And because his pocket was limited up here.
Yeah.
But we went to below to near the rock there, where Tommy Newsom's lived. That's the coolest thing. And what is it? To the place below near Arthur Rock there.
Yeah.
Thomas Newsom's anyway. Remember Harry and his brother?
yeah.
Remember Tommy? But he started up this Fordson and he drove around the yard. Jesus, I was delighted with this to see it going like. Jesus, it's a tractor, and he drove it around, and he come back and he parked it up, stopped it there, and he said to my father, he says, "Do you know?" He says that tractor wouldn't suit you at all. And Jesus, when I heard this coming out, I was devastated.
That wasn't what you wanted to hear.
No, it wasn't what I wanted to hear, but Tommy Newsom was right though,
Yeah.
because he said, "You bring home that Fordson tractor and you've no lift, no nothing to work with. Do you know what I mean? There's no hydraulic lift on
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
And he says, "Go and buy yourself a little Ferguson tractor." And he quite honest man to
It was.
yeah, and he was selling the tractor now. He was wanted to sell it. I remember he telling me after,
Yeah. And
or years after. When
And
I
the
got
Ferguson
it.
tractor, believe it or not, you'd nearly turn around in that room.
Oh yeah.
And it had the hydraulic lift. The Fordson, you'd need half a field to turn.
Oh, be just sure it wouldn't have been. It wasn't a tractor at all,
And the
really.
Ferguson went on quarter the fuel.
That's right.
So,
And then with your toe for a plough, you're able to reverse up into the corner.
That's right.
Where the horse plough even never got that.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Great
No,
job.
no, made all the
Yeah.
difference, yeah.
But there was a little story. Remember this salesman came to this farmer to sell him a tractor. So he knew he said he'd try this lad. So he went in and he sat down with him, of course, and Mr. So-and-so real nice and sweet to him and all. And he says, "You know now," he says, "if you bought a tractor," he said, "if a wet week come or a wet fortnight come there," he said, "you would leave your tractor in the house. I wouldn't be eating anything." Do you know?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be eating anything. And oh, it's a farmer, yeah. He says, yeah, but he says, when I yoke up my 2 horses in the morning there, he says, they don't eat anything all day when they're ploughing. He got it in that way.
Yeah.
See, he meant when the horse was working, he wasn't eating.
Yeah, well, There was a different story at home. Bert Gilbert, and there's some names I can't mention names, but Bert Gilbert I can. He was the salesman in Colliers upon Glory.
What was the name, Mick?
Bert Gilbert.
Aye.
Yeah.
I don't remember him now. I remember Colliers well.
I remember him because that time another thing that was another thing that happened. That time when your new tractor arrived, Colliers sent a man with it for a week or 2 weeks.
Oh yes.
Because the man who was buying the tractor never had set up in one or never
drove a tractor. Sure, he wouldn't. No, that's true.
And this man was sent for to show him all the ins and outs of the tractor for 2 weeks.
Yes, and more than likely as well, he was a middle-aged man.
Oh yeah, he was.
A farmer at that time. Because his young lads would be running around there, be mad to get up on it, but he wouldn't be let near the tractor.
I remember him.
But he wouldn't pick up this driving all as quick as a young lad would.
Oh no,
that's where they sent out that man to...
Yeah, he come with a brown Austin van every day. But I remember Bert Gilbert saying to my father, because he had sold Sullivan's at the Barn land, and I think he had sold Ned Bourne and he sold our tractor, and he said, is there anybody else that you know of? Because he was mad to sell tractors.
Oh yeah.
And my father couldn't think for a long time, and then he began to think for a while. God, he says, I do. And I won't mention man, but neighbour, I wasn't living too far away. And God, Bert said, that's great. He says, I'll go to him. And my father said to him, you have no problem, he says, with money, because he said he could buy 4 tractors. And you know how Gilbert said?
Wouldn't go near him.
No, wouldn't go near him.
No.
And he was right. The man didn't buy a new tractor, he bought an old Ford Nan, second hand.
Was the start of that place, aye?
That was
well, he had I know you're talking about.
He had a high TVO major, but the minute he heard this man had a load of money, he said to be wasting my time. He said, I'm not going. And didn't go to him.
There you are now, Mick. Times.
And this man, I was proved right, he bought a Ford.
A good tidy second-hand tractor.
Yeah, it was a Ford Nan, and they were on the way out at the time, like, because the Grey Ferguson had took over from the Ford Nan. Like,
Ford Nan wasn't as...
They were a lovely tractor, like, but they were...
Well, what's this was really different about them at the back of it?
Well, they had a different engine. They had...
I know they had a side valve engine.
But they had the depth control, they had everything.
Yeah, they had the Ferguson.
Well, what happened to them was, you see, they were for whole business. Because Ferguson and Ford, remember, the Ford had copied...
Oh yeah, young Ford that time.
They copied the lift gear off of the Grey Ferguson, and Ferguson's lawed him and took him to court.
And the farmer then, of course, the tractor went by the wayside of it, and they headed it. But that's all it was though, because they were a good tractor.
They were a grand tractor, yeah. But that's what happened there, and it was law over them. But them were all the things that happened, and they all seemed to happen fairly quick in our time, didn't they? You know?
Well, sure, you take from when we started around the middle 50s.
Yeah.
We've seen...
Yeah, all from 1950 onwards, I'd say.
Well, from 50, I suppose,
the changes were... Oh, yeah, sure.
Well... And I remember my father, he was talking about buying something new for a long time, but it was his pocket he was talking about or thinking of, really. Yeah. He didn't... it was only a second-hand Ferguson we got now, first year.
Yeah. Well, you see, there was
remember the Continental Ferguson?
I do, yeah.
She was a converted tractor.
Well, you see, the time we got at home that time, there was very little second-hand Fergusons, like, you know, because...
Oh, sure, there was none, hardly. They were the start. Yeah, sure, they were only out, what were they, about 10 years at the time?
Yeah, they come out in...
15, yeah.
In the late 40s, didn't they?
Well, 49, 48, well,
yeah. But anybody that bought him that time would say were hanging on to him, like, they weren't trading him in pretty quick, like, you know, so at that time there was no...
there wasn't many traded in or anything.
No. So the new tractor then was the... But then I'm talking about 450, I think the diesel was near 500 or 550 or maybe up to 600.
She was that much more.
That much more, yeah, but 450 back in 1954 was...
Well, just was a lot of money.
Savage money, yeah, it was. And it was a kind of a make or break as well that time, because I don't know about anybody else, but what stood us that time, there was 2 years, I think, of good harvests.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of wheat sown, like...
Yeah, there was 56 and 57 along them were years.
And you see, you were able to sow a few acres more because the horse and the pony, 2 horses and the pony were gone. And do a bumper years, great price for wheat.
That's right.
And I think that
you could get a good crop of wheat, then you'd nearly she'd pay a good bit. Well, it wouldn't have happened probably here, but
I think the tractor
a good few acres of wheat, like, and nearly pay for a tractor.
I think the implements and all were cleared in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, with the good harvest.
Of course, then 58 come a bad one as well, but then if you could get a good harvest that time, you'd clear up a lot of yokes.
Yeah, and I remember a good price being given for wheat that time, because that time we were cutting with the binder, and you were stuck and stacking. Wheat, unlike oats or barley, it was very easy for wheat to start budding if it got a bit wet.
Oh, that's right.
Because the rain was. And
if you could have good wheat, like.
Yeah, when we made the stacks that time at home, the stacks were made fairly well.
Yeah.
And when it come to putting in the corn, the cap shaves were kept separate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they'd have took the weather on the outside, like.
And any wheat that sprouted that time weren't fit for milling.
Oh, yeah.
So once the bulgers or whoever knew you had the cap shaves separated, the cap shaves went for feeding.
Yes.
And the rest of us went for milling. Top price.
2 or 3 shaves on each stack.
Yeah, top price, you see. So that was a big help, like.
Oh, God, it was.
And that time you couldn't afford to lose anything. Everything had to be.
That's true. Yeah. Well, now I remember here going down to Mrs. Kelly was the merchant in Cogrenny that time.
Yeah.
That was before the Gardner family come, like.
Yeah. And
I remember walking down one night here with him to Mrs. Kelly, and he had this, as he thought, a lovely sample of oats. So after doing a bit of threshing here, and the oats was loose there in the shed, like, you know, in the barn there, and up there in the yard. And Mrs. Kelly, I remember, she had her glasses on her, and she got the oats out on the counter.
Yeah.
So many grains of it. Yeah. And she looking at it like this. Because I wasn't minding, I didn't know what she was looking at. Well, I knew she was looking at oats, but I was wondering why she was. And she says, do you know, she called him Willie. Willie was in the fire, he went with Willie up this country. He says, you know, Willie, she says, it has sprouted. And there was when I looked at it close then, there was little like spiders' legs and different things out of some of it. Yeah. And he thought he had the loveliest bit of oats, never minded.
Yeah.
But give the woman her due. He wouldn't have had a lot of oats or anything, they'll make a small amount. She says, I tell you what, she says, I won't disappoint you, she says. Bring on the oats down, and says, I'll be alright. She says, it's not much. There was only some odd ones had sprouted.
Yeah. That's right.
She was good character, I remember that now. He come up the road delighted with himself. You know, because you were getting that bit extra for good oats as well as
and again, you couldn't really afford to lose anything.
Oh no, not a grain shop. Oh yeah. Yeah. Which is every bit counted.
Every bit counted, that is right.
Sure they did.
And another wreck at that time was bringing the fair days.
The fair day?
Yeah, driving the cattle to that.
Oh yeah.
To Gorey. I don't know whether you...
Obviously, I drove them from here, sir.
To Gorey or...
We did, Gorey.
Gorey, yeah.
Well, maybe, we would have went Arthur as well. That would make.
Yeah, we never went to Arthur. Went to Gorey.
Gorey was handy for you.
And Gorey was nearest, but Muffins again, Hurley used to bring cattle to, as far as
and leave them with you overnight.
Leave them overnight. Yeah. And let them settle down then, and they'll be going in fresh then.
There you are.
In the morning into Gorey,
I remember Jimmy talking to me about that.
I remember
that was George Murphy that time.
George and
Jack.
Yeah. And the footpaths in Gorey that time were, there was a channel, and the footpath had probably the granite stone along the edge.
Oh yeah, long edge, yeah.
That's where we used to sit down and get a rest now and again, because you'd be standing with these cattle.
Yeah, because there was a little channel there.
Channel the water like nearly as high as the chair there. You could sit down on that there.
But I remember
cattle after driving them and all, they'd stay reasonably quiet.
Oh yeah, you could them quieting down there, they'd stand and they'd look better.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be. But I remember one incident about Arkla now, Mick.
Yeah.
The Herberts over here lived in Glenog, and we would have a few cattle. Remember Willie Whitmer was with me, and we chaps, they say, get the job of driving, run here and stop a gap there and all this crack.
Yeah.
And went on down, we're down the bottom of the town.
Yeah.
And you'd have to be minding your cattle. But this old lady was very fussy about the footpath along outside of the door, you see.
I seen
She
him.
said, keep them cattle off of that there, keep them back there, out, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd move them out for a while, but so cattle would start moving around that bit. You know, they wouldn't stand in one spot.
Yeah.
And they'd be back up on the footpath again. And she'd out again, and she was seemingly very particular, but anyway, this particular time, she come out with the sweeping brush. Yeah. Pulled on this bullock with the brush, of course broke the handle out of her. Yeah. She had to run down the path and grab the brush, and in through the door with her. Yeah. The brush in two halves.
Yeah. There was a certain corner.
We laughing at her, of course.
If you were early enough, I don't know, Ardenboy in Gorey, you know, particularly with sheep maybe. Yeah. Or there'd be, I think, Brown's Corner, Brown's above at the top of Gorey. Yeah. If you see still where they play Skittles. Oh, yeah. There was a kind of an L corner there. Yeah. If you were lucky enough and early enough, you got your sheep into the corner. Into there. And you could do the man less minding them then, like, you know.
Oh yes, yes, they kind of stay in a certain area there, yeah. But they're inclined to walk around a bit, you see, naturally. Yeah.
And would you drive them down the main street of Gorey?
Oh yeah. Oh, you'd leave them on you'd mind them on the street. And when they were sold, mainly when they were sold.
Each batch had to be minded. Your cattle would be there and mine would be there. And
at that time, the fair day, you'd be at your, I remember cars or even the old CAE bus trying to zigzag in and out between the cattle coming up the street. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And when if they were sold, then if you were lucky enough to sell them, when the jobbers were done poking them with sticks and driving them around,
running them down, making little of them.
And then they said to you, bring them to the railway station now, and give you a number of a carriage.
There you are.
And you drive them onto the railway station and they'll go onto that carriage.
They'll go onto that train.
They'd have a ticket. They'd have, the buyers must have had so many carriages.
They'd be heading for Dublin.
Heading for Dublin, the same as the cattle lorries now in the sales, or the train would be there in Gorey and be loading cattle like into a holding pen down there. Yeah.
So the fair took place on the main street of Gorey?
On the main street of Gorey, from top to bottom, yeah.
The whole street would be blocked up there.
The Ballycanoe...
Ponies and cars in between the cattle, of course.
The Ballycanoe people, a lot of them assembled on the wide footpath at, what do you call it, 64 corner.
Oh yeah, they'd have come in from
the... They'd have come in Ballycanoe, but there was a great big wide pat there. Yeah. The cattle were up on the pat there.
Aye, they'd keep them up along.
Because it was Mike Redmond, I think, owned it at that time. Mike Redmond owned the Lockharman House.
Oh right, yes.
That was Redmond's.
Aye,
he owned it a lot.
Shop on the corner.
He owned it where Power is now with the lawnmowers. And
that was Redmond's.
That was Redmond's yard as well. And he owned the hotel. Yeah. Yeah. But I remember
they
were lucky because there was a slope on the footpath, and I remember them with a hose after the fair day.
Yes.
And they hosing down the...
Oh God, aye.
All the cow down and the whole half the pat down into the door, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to throw another stick in the fire, Tommy? Yeah, keep it going.
I'm kind of... another stick or two there behind me.
The fire.
But there's another little thing now, Mick.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll never mind.
You get the small ones, Tommy, now, to get her going.
I was conscious of it there, I was going to tell you.
Join that lad there, Mick. Alright.
Yeah, here, I get this idea because you stay standing up.
Them would burn like hell there.
You think he'd have a bucket there or something, wouldn't you, would fight? You weren't thinking about us at all today.
I didn't get up very early, you see.
You're up time enough, anyways.
Because I was on the stories last night below in
yeah.
They were on my mind.
I'll put this rope now, Tommy, do we?
Ah, yeah, push her in there, Mick, yeah.
Back again there.
Jesus, I don't know if she's going to close it all first.
You'll have to get it closed.
Yeah, because she won't pull it, you see.
No, you may get the rope.
Jesus, she's ruined. Jesus, Mick.
You're okay, you're on a winner.
She's on a winner. So I'm in there now. I had to make this the other day, Mick, look at it.
Yeah, because that gets hot after.
Oh, Jesus, it's worse now.
You learn every day, don't you?
Yes, right.
I wouldn't leave that up there now any longer.
Take it down over there.
It wasn't very clever, was it?
the handle that I wanted for that.
And you might have thought of that because you said earlier on there you want to make a mug of tea, and I just thought, say, well, you're not going to make tea, there's no tape or kettle on the top of the cup.
Yeah, well, I'll ring up the hotel or anything. But getting back to that train, Mick, now, this is something you might not mind it where you would live, but up here now, of a Friday evening after the fair, that goods train should be leaving Gorey there.
That's right.
Heading on there along through Castletown on for Arklow.
Yeah.
And the smoke, I remember it was lovely to stand there in the yard and see and she starting to puff out from Gorey on up along, under Tara Hill alongside there. Tinnock along there.
Yeah.
And there were certain people I heard, and the train she'd be nearly talking, you'd hear the engine.
Yeah.
You ever hear this? You ever hear Humphrey Spencer at this? I don't think I can, I don't think I can. This is where the engine would be rattling, pulling because she'd be loaded. I don't think I can, I don't think I can.
Yeah, they made
you were listening to the engine and she puffing with the smoke going up over. I don't think I can, I don't think I can. And then when she'd get on the level there in Scarna, I said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and do you know what?
The engine had a character about her, you see. Well, this is the steam now I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, some of that noise was the joint, some of that was, there was a bit of that the joint in the track as well.
Well, the tracks was different.
I don't know whether we used to do it in school. Imitate with your hand.
Yeah. Oh, the track.
You know, you keep throwing your hand up.
You were taking the track along.
Yeah. What's this way? I'd have to be on a table or somewhere. We were able to do that and then pick it up as the train kept going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember my father showing it to us on the kitchen table. You know, you turn your hand over and
I see, big God.
Yeah, we're gonna make the clickety click. You know. Yeah. So that's what you'd hear going out of Gorey.
I heard that. That's wasn't well, the engine itself, she would be pulling hard there, like.
Oh, would you?
And that's what it was. It was the tracks.
Yeah. The joints in the tracks, you hear the crack of the wheels off.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can.
Yeah, sorry. We used to go down to the railway bridge on the Ballyfad Road, the big.
To see her going by.
Well, no, to see her filling up with water. The big.
Oh, there. Oh, yes.
Storage tank was there, and
that's still there, isn't it?
That's still there.
The tank is still there.
No, that big round one is gone. I think there's a square one in there somewhere still. There was 2 tanks. Yeah. There had to be one on each side. There was two
different engines.
Well, there was two lines going through the station, you see.
Oh yes, the other line.
Whichever side the engine was on, there had to be a tank on either side.
And have one gone out.
We used to watch them there filling it.
Man. Oh sure, it was a big thing. Yeah.
And for a while the train they had to pass under the bridge a little bit.
Right.
And for a few seconds you'd see nothing because of the steam and the smoke would all come up.
Oh God.
Once you go under the bridge then it'd be going to the other side and we'd be able to watch the water going in. But the whole, getting back to the fair day, the jobbers coming as the day'd wear on, they'd try wear you down as well.
Oh yeah.
Hot cattle and poke them around make them uneasy because you'd be getting tired and fed up.
Yeah.
And another they used to go out and meet you out the road. Did they ever meet you on the road?
Oh, I know they would, yeah. And they'd have a special plant for the job. They'd be poking and tapping them. And
there was a certain man in Gorey there, and his words, the minute he'd meet you on the road, he'd never say how much for the cattle or how much for the heifers or what. He'd say how much for the horns. Do you know? As much as saying that's the best end of them is the horns on them. Yeah.
But they were divers, jobbers were divers, that's what they were, yeah.
And where were the jobbers from? Were they local or?
Some of them local, and some of them they'd be dealers, they'd be buying for.
Well, a lot of them jobbers would be buying for.
Yeah, the most of them would be there would be a lot of them local now. The man I'm talking about asking you how much for the horns.
Oh, yeah.
And they wore this, they'd have the fawn trousers.
Yes.
Above the ankles a bit there. And a pair of brown shoes or boots.
Yeah.
And this fawn coloured, tan coloured coat.
Coat on him, yeah.
An open coat with big pockets. Remember the inside pockets?
Right, yes.
And they'd let you see the colour of the cash. Do you know?
I assure you so much there.
When you'd be getting near a deal, like they'd let the coat swing open.
Yes.
Take out a lump of money and then put it back in. Like, you know. So there's people, they got catalogued of people for
nothing.
because a lot of people that time, they brought cattle to the fair.
Yeah.
They were brought to be sold.
Well, they were brought to, they had those bills to be paid, and that was simple as that. And they made sure that them bills were paid.
Yeah, and them lads made...
They lived that way, like.
And them lads would leave you, even though they knew they were going to buy the cattle, they'd let you hang on there till...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, make you suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember my father talking about he was in Arklow one day with a couple of cattle, and he wanted to get with his town out. Yeah. And there was this lad, you know him too, we won't mention their names, they were in Arklow. A crowd of them lived there, and they would run down your few cattle the same.
Oh, they would? Oh, run them down.
But there was a Mr. Royal lived here in Ballykilty here.
Right.
And he come down along and he knew my father well, and he wanted a few cattle.
Yeah.
And the same they sold him, a
Yeah.
few we had.
Yeah.
He says, you don't mind them boys, he said, you bring them cattle home and leave them in with me going home. He says, they're sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus, he was on top of the world.
Yeah. Well, there was a few, there would have been a few like
This
at
man
that time, they
them,
would be very straight, like.
Ah, well, there was straight lads among them, I suppose, as well.
The same in grain buyers that time, Bulger, DJ Bulger Gorey was as straight as you get.
They were the good Jason.
Oh, yeah. They would, yeah. And like Mrs. Kelly below called Granny, even though sometimes your oats or your barley or your wheat mightn't be up to scratch,
well,
but they still wouldn't cut you on it.
I remember she given my father the benefit of the doubt that well, there was other times as well, but I can remember that one well, like. Yeah.
No, there were. Well, there were hard times, but there was nothing. Do you know? Well, I've no regrets or anything about.
No.
Being in.
You see what went on. They say, supposing after the fair that night.
Yeah.
Remember inside in the old kitchen there, Hugh Kenny, and there'd be someone else, probably maybe Jim Miller or someone,
right.
And you'd debate about your prices,
would,
what you got, and she says, you got on well today now. I didn't think you'd get that, maybe they'd said, you know.
And another thing we used to like was going, when the cattle
was mixing around there the whole time.
When the cattle would be sold, then you'd be brought into Lacey's for a cup of tea.
Oh, yeah.
And they had the butter, they had this thing for, I remember the little lumps of butter on the plates. And they had a hatch down in the what would you call it, the cellar where the kitchen was. And they'd shout down through the...
Oh yeah, that was Lacey's. Oh, that was Lacey's. The main place, of course, to go.
And you'd see this little cage
coming up
with whatever tea was ordered.
Jeez, your head is looking better than mine.
Oh yeah, I always got a cup of tea.
Yeah, well maybe you were in more luxury than we would have been at first.
Oh no, there'd be no luxury about it, like what you'd be. The tea wasn't that dear, but you got the cup of tea. My father never took a drink, and I never takes a drink. Never did.
Oh, he wasn't a drinking man at
no, never drank. Smoked to be alright. No, I never smoked. He smoked alright.
Yeah, but you never smoked?
Never smoked.
I didn't, I don't know. No. A few drinks in my time, alright.
No, that cup of tea, because there'd be others, there'd be a few, maybe 3 or 4 tables around, like, and there'd be discussions going on. And I tell you what was grand about it, you went upstairs in Lacey's, and if you could get near the window, you were able to look down. Oh, you're looking out on the street? On the boys, the rest of the lads minding the cattle and enjoying your supper tea.
Looking at your,
Oh yeah, so that's it.
Jesus, there was a lot of good things attached to it, wasn't there?
Things. And I tell you another thing, I don't know whether you use it or not, but normally after, she did the clothes stalls would be on the street. There was no such, there was very little in new clothes that time for.
Oh,
there was like you get a coat or a trousers, but it'd be bought off of the second-hand stalls.
Oh yes,
on the street,
and there was a big thing, of course, top coats. Men's coats.
Yeah, they were selling army coats that time and guards coats and stuff like that on the stalls.
You could get one of them for your Ferguson tractor. Yeah. You could walk away there at night time.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh?
Oh yeah, there was always...
Well, I mean, daytime or night time, the cold day didn't affect you much.
I don't know
because they went down around your legs.
I don't know where these... I know where the guards coats come out, because they had to keep them fairly good, like that's how the second hand ones...
were scarce.
Yeah, you never got the buttons, that was the problem. The buttons were all cut off before you.
That's right.
Yeah,
because they were brass, you see.
Well, the Garda symbol was on them or whatever. You wouldn't be.
Oh, as
well.
to
be used.
Of course, that's.
You know,
And that was another thing.
Yeah,
but they collected the brass buttons as well.
Probably did, no, but they would never sell them with.
Oh, Jesus, that's right. I forgot about that bit. Yeah.
It's just like.
I remember my father telling a story here about there's some fella around Kiltegan, where he come from. He used to collect these cards. Right. Same day, he was getting them off the guards.
Yeah.
And you were right there. This lad used to take the buttons off.
Yeah.
Well, he had the buttons anyway. Yeah. He had them there was another lad collected these off of him.
All right.
He was giving them money for the buttons.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he seemingly had this room, and I think farmers could go to this lad and buy a cart, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing, of course, was the fair. Yeah. And but anyway, things had changed a bit, and he had a whole lot of carts.
Yeah. And
he had a whole lot of buttons.
Right.
This lad come in one night, and your man was very upset because there was no sales.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look into that room there." He says, "Do you know?" He says. Then he changed his mind a bit, like. He says, "Sure, if I haven't money, I have value."
Yeah.
He had the value in the room, like, but he had no money.
He had no money.
Because the sales was gone down.
Sales had dropped, but he had the stuff still.
Yeah, but they brought buttons and...
Yeah. No, anyway. And another thing about the guards court that time you got it, was that your bedspread then at night too.
Throw across the foot of the bed?
Throw across the bed anywhere, for a winter's night.
Well, yeah, but...
if you had a big guards coat over you in the bed, you were alright.
Oh, okay, just you'd be snug, yeah. That's what I want to get there at the moment. I want to get extra. I wonder if I would let you a coat like that today. You wouldn't get them.
No,
you wouldn't get a good top coat today.
I don't know what happens to them coats now. No. But people wouldn't buy them anyway. If there was a stall in Gorey today selling them, they wouldn't buy them. Like you and me might buy one, but other than that, they wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Wouldn't take them, sure.
Jesus.
And
go for the deer and the wreck or something.
Yeah.
And we use only chaps then bringing in the cattle into the
only chaps, yeah.
We be young, yeah.
Oh yeah.
When
did we still going to school, sure?
Huh?
You get a day off school. Well, Saturday was a fair day maybe, but
Friday was a big day.
You'd get a day off, and you'd have a day off for picking the spuds or whatever. Oh yeah, we're my chaps. We're going to school like that.
Yeah, we kept at home certain days.
We kept at home for the threshing as well.
But yes, of course, the threshing was that was different.
Different job.
Just the threshing was like Christmas Day. The threshing was like Santa Claus coming.
Well, the threshing was as near, if you like, other than it was important to the man that was threshing, but it was near to the story houses, if you like.
Oh, well, yeah, the story houses. It
was a great gathering of neighbours all in there.
Yeah. We've got the stories at night there, sure. Yeah. And the ghost stories.
Yeah.
We'd be afraid between here and Sean Carroll's house across the road here.
That's right.
There was a big holly tree right on the corner of their garden there.
Yeah.
And there was always something saying there.
That's right.
I wouldn't walk from here to Carroll's in the dark.
Sure, Jim Carroll.
I had the light frightened out, mate. There was nothing there, but sure. Listen to this.
Jim Carroll wasn't a chap, and there were stories going on in the house one night. Jim Carroll, you never knew Jim Carroll. He'd be a brother of Nancy Ford's up here.
Sister, brother Nancy's, yeah. Jim,
yeah.
I remember, which one do I remember? John Well, of course.
John Well, yeah, no, Jim.
And who was the man that lived here with Nancy?
Pat.
That was Pat.
Yeah. No, I remember Jim leaving home one night, and these ghost stories were going, and them lads wouldn't be afraid that time, but I got to high that night now. He took off on his bike, and when you come out, even though the light wouldn't be great that time, you see nothing when you come out.
That's right, the whole country was black.
There was no lane going out of the house at home that time out to the road, and he went on. No tarred road either, you see, so he was going up the road now, and he could hear something following him. And he slowed down, and when he slowed down, whoever was behind him slowed down as well. So when he got up the hill behind the level, then he pressed on.
He was walking?
No, on a bike.
Oh, bike.
The harder he went on the bike, the shop was still behind.
This lad, yeah.
And he turned the corner there for the bunker. And he pressed on then, and you have to take another left turn down.
Down for
Barley Road.
Yeah.
And when you're down the hill there, he went like the clappers.
Yeah.
But this shop was still behind him.
Still behind him.
And he got out, he got out in then. And he got off.
He was getting near home then, of course.
Well, he was. He would be from home still. He was going in the real dark place, going into the trees and the Barley Road.
Yeah.
So he stopped there. He was out in peddling, and he struck a match. And it was a big old, what we call a dog rose or a briar. When the councilmen had been cutting the road, and I got caught on the stay of the mudguard of the bike. I was caught in the stay of the mudguard, and this big briar was coming tearing along the stones behind him. And he had to kill himself.
Yeah, the horse, the faster he got, the more noise the briar would make.
Yeah, there it was. So it's funny about where like, and if he had lost that briar somewhere, he possibly would have said there was a lad following him so far.
Yeah.
And he lost him maybe, you know.
But sure, didn't that happen with, you know, I'm told there he was doing a line with a woman below the Wooden Bridge Hotel. She was from Ballyfad here somewhere. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this fella was, he used to ride down his push bike at night to see her.
Yeah.
And what he didn't know, there was another man belonged to this country down that country as well.
Yeah, with the same idea.
Well, he probably was on the same idea,
Yeah.
But he headed up the new line, like it was black dark then as well, you say, only whatever little light he had on the front of the bike.
Yeah.
But this noise was behind him.
Yeah.
And when he'd stop to walk, this noise would stop.
Yeah.
When he'd ride on this same racket again, all up the new line.
Yeah.
That's a couple mile long, isn't it? 2 mile, I think.
It is.
And come on up here to the top.
Yeah, up to where Bourne.
Yes, then had to turn along for Killhurler.
Yeah.
Here, this thing was standing in the middle of the road. Of course, it was really frightened then.
Yeah.
And who was it? This was another fellow with a bike.
Yeah.
And sure, when the lad in front heard the
lad behind
he'd ride on. It was the same as a man with the briar. To a point.
Yeah.
And you know how he said to him, he says, you're fucking after killing me. When he discovered who it was and what it was.
Yeah. So there's
There was lots
I remember that time there was shortcuts across fields.
Pats,
Yeah, there were styles here and there. And this man used to go from a card game at night. He knew he'd be going home late at night, and he'd be going over this style. And this lad decided now, simply, when your man come along, he'd be coming along whistling at night in the pitch dark. So he got a big white sheet and he threw it over him, and he stood
on the style
at the style, one side of the style, and your man come on whistling. And he stopped for a minute and took a look at him and hopped out over the stile and went on like the clappers anyway. So a few nights later then he was coming on from the car drive again whistling. And of course this lad had the sheet done up a bit better, and he said he'd. So your man, he stopped again when he got to the sheet, and he says,
good night.
Peter, he says, there's two of you in it tonight. Yeah. And when the lad who was trying to frighten him looked around, there was another sheet behind him. He dropped down, cut out, there and then, fainted. And your man went on whistling. And he never knew who either of them were, but there was seemingly another lad decided to pull the trick on the guy that was trying to frighten your man going off the garden.
There was a lot of stories told with where there was a lot of that work went on.
But you often, that place up here in Killhurler, I don't like mentioning.
I know you man,
a house up there. There's the man that owned it in our time back in the late 40s, was it?
That was a big haunted place, wasn't it? There are stories told about that.
He couldn't sleep at night. What does he? He might have had a family at the time, maybe, but when they go to bed at night, the saucepans and the yolks will rattle in the kitchen, and they come down and there'll be nothing disturbed. Everything will be A1.
In the morning,
Certain time at night they'll come back up. But I haven't heard that. No matter what light they had, whether it be a candle or an eye lamp. When they go 2 or 3 steps up the stairs, the light goes. You ever hear that?
It happened in the same place.
Same house.
Yeah. And
there was supposed to be a light then if you look out to the front wind at night.
Yeah.
There was a light coming up the driveway.
Yeah.
Coming up the pathway or up across. You'd be more even familiar with it than I would.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean.
That light had come so far up.
Oh yeah.
And then disappear.
Up into that place.
Yeah. But I had to, because my mother was very great with them. You know, she knew the people that owned that place.
Yes.
And I had 2 uncles, 2 brothers of hers. And 2 brothers of the man that owned the place. And they decided that they would go and stop in it for a night.
Oh yes.
When there was 4 of them together.
Yeah.
And the 4 of them got into the one bed. 2
one big
top,
bed.
2 of them in the bottom. And in the middle of the night now, there was this violent bang. And they thought the roof had fell in.
Yes.
And the 4 of them jumped out of the bed.
Leapt out of bed.
And they run.
Down the stairs now.
And out and on from office to kill a hurler. They wouldn't stop in there. But the next day,
yeah,
you knew what they discovered what had happened. With the 4 of them in the bed, the floor wasn't good, and the legs of the bed went through the floor.
The 4 legs went out. There was a bang.
And the vibes flew.
Yeah.
But anyway, that house, that man sold that place out, wouldn't stop in it.
Wouldn't stop in it. No,
yeah. And I often heard my father saying, he asked him, like, you know, different questions about it, and the man who was owned it and living in it, he said the problem was he'd come to the conclusion that there were rats spawning up under the stairs. Do you know the way under the stairs? You could throw out utensils.
You'd hear them at night.
So he decided he whatever way he cleaned out under the stairs, and he dug up the floor under the stairs.
Yeah.
And he covered the whole thing back again, and he never told me father what he found or what he didn't find.
Oh. But still he got out of the place.
Got out of it then, once whatever he found under the floor,
aye,
or under the stairs, he cleared out, and moved on. Yeah. And the strange part about this place is there was a right away through a big farmer's yard.
That's right. Yeah.
A very wealthy man. And he never bought that place.
He never bought it either. No. I heard that as well.
Yeah.
He could have bought it any time.
Could have bought any time he liked, but he never bought it. No. So.
And still that farm today is going well, Mick.
It's going well, yeah, samely, but they didn't use, did they use that house or road up, or did they build a new one?
I don't know now. I don't know that part of it. Maybe built a new house, of course.
Something makes me think they built a new house, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I heard another story about that, there was a fella living in a cottage there on the hill just above the entrance into that place.
Yeah.
And he wanted a couple jugs of stones running to level up the front of the cottage there, the yard like.
Yeah.
And he went over to that place. It was moonlight night.
Yeah.
With this tractor, he got along to this tractor. Well, it was the place he was working in like.
Yeah.
And this steel trailer.
Yeah.
It was a trailer your man had bought second hand.
Right.
And with Mackie Burns that time, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, he went over and he got them stones over there, and he kept throwing them into the steel trailer with his hands like that time. Yeah. And there was people after a couple of days after telling the story about the noise that was over on the hill the other night. Yeah. Couldn't listen to it.
The rattling.
The rattling. It was your man throwing the stones into the steel trailer.
Yeah.
Little steel trailer. More loader.
I suppose there wasn't a townsland in the country that didn't have a story where the black dog was seen or where things were seen. Or
Black dog. Yeah.
Black cat was another thing. There was something about the black cat as well. Well, there was another thing now. Just before we go on to the black dog, and if you want to put it on recording, if you want a Threshing, that time everybody went. There was sometimes to be lads walking with a farmer. You know, a farmer would have a lad walking with him. Yeah. Now maybe it didn't happen up here, but he never said a farmer. There was always 2 shillings or a half crown of a tip.
Oh yeah.
But a farmer's son never got a tip. Did you ever know that?
No, I know that part of it now.
Oh yeah.
I went to could have done it every Threshing.
Well, believe it or believe it not, the farmer's son could have done with it worse than the
then the man who was working in the place.
The man working with the farmer, he was getting paid some kind of a wage.
Yes.
But we got a pair of boots or a coat or a dungaree.
That's right, you got no money.
No money.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
But if you were,
look at it that way, yeah.
And I remember going to a threshing. Anyway, in a couple of, but this day I went to a threshing, and when I came home, and a lad I went to school with, we used to travel around a lot together. Went to school together, and then we went to this threshing anyway. And when I came home, my father said to me, "Did your man give you the 2 shillings?
Yeah.
You know, just to test." I said, "No, he didn't." But the lad who was with me, when we were getting up on 2 little old bikes, they weren't grey header at the time, the farmer called this lad, said, "Hey," he says, "wipe that jam off your mouth there." You see? And when I looked back, he was slipping him the 2 shillings. So I told my father this. I said, "No, he didn't give it to me," but I said, mentioning the lad's name, I said, I heard him calling him back to say, and saying to him, "Wipe that jam off your mouth." I said, when I looked back, I looked back to see what was happening, so he was giving him the 2 shillings. And my father said to him, "Why didn't you say to him you had jam on your mouth as well?"
yeah. Hey, the holy.
That's right. No.
He called him back, that's why
he was giving him the 2 shillings and he didn't want me to see him.
Didn't want you
give him the 2 shillings. Yeah.
2 shillings was 2 shillings.
Yeah. And
jeez.
yeah, people got wise. Your father, I don't know what your father, my father got wise after a while. Another thing, when a chap went to a threshing, particularly a farmer's son again,
right,
the hulls was the dirtiest job, the chaff.
Oh yeah, that's the job you were put on.
That's the job you get.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I remember going to this threshing one day, and my father said to me going out, and he'd want you to do your part and to work and not be missing. But I remember him saying it to me, going out. He says, "If that man puts you on the hulls,"
yes,
he says, "you come home."
Oh right. Yeah.
And because I went on, I was sure I was going to go on the hulls.
Yeah.
And I was delighted with this now, because I was going to have no bother.
Hulls was a dirty job, but there was no work involved.
Oh, cheers, there was a pile of work involved on me.
Pushing it back and
forth.
forth.
4 days threshing in between 2 ricks, and you'd be trying to push it back, and you'd have...
Oh, of course, look at it that way,
I don't know what happened to you, but I've seen a blackguard on the mill maybe, now and again when you be under pressure, a drop of chaff on your head maybe.
Drop down on top of you.
Yeah. But he said to me, "You come home," and actually that day I wasn't born to hulls.
Oh Jesus, you were into some other
job. I would have went home. I think I would have went home if you put me in the hulls, because what to do to you when you go in is...
hulls they were devils, you'd get nothing on a fork with
no, you wouldn't. It was a big sprung you had anyway, and you'd be trying to push it out, but normally what they'd say to you when you go in is, one man, "Hey, you go on the hulls there. Until I get somebody, till somebody comes." But once you went on it, then you were there for the day. Yeah. And mind you, that time around the mill, the hulls was a dirty job.
You'd be blinded. There was weeds.
Yeah.
There'd be weeds.
Oh, sure, it'd be terrible.
Different in places, some places.
Yeah.
What were the hulls? Can you explain to me?
The hull was the cover on the grain of corn.
Right.
When it was threshed, that's the very same as taking a pea out of a pod. Only the pod is a lot bigger.
Yeah. Oats had a lot of hulls.
Barley had a yawn on it, the long
it was a different type of lad, yeah.
But there'd be bits of the broken straw, the head of the barley, or particularly if we had break up a bit, and there'd be more short bits of straw. But the hulls would be the shell of the grain.
Oh, yeah.
And the same in the oats.
Oh, the oats had these 2 little hulls on them.
Yeah, he had a great shell on them. Yeah. And it had be like feathers, it had be bulky.
Some feathers, like on a bird or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like shoveling dry sea sand. Did you ever try to put sea sand up a bank and you put a shovelful and 2 would fall back? Like, that's the way the hulls are. The sprung will go through it. Like,
I know, yeah. It was the same as the drunker coming home one night dragging the big rope after him.
Right.
Here, the guard stopped him.
Yeah.
He says, he was full like. He says, "Why are you dragging that big cord after you? A big rope after you?" God, he says, "And then I wasn't trying to push it."
Yeah. Here's a different one. A lad that used to, he had whipped 2 ducks someplace.
Ducks?
He got picked up 2 ducks in a place going home, you see, or he was crossing the fields. Some lad must have knew he was ahead, but he was in the dark and he could hear your man coming along, and now and again you'd hear quack out of the bag. And he got near the ditch, this quack come again, and your man says, "Fate, you won't walk." He says, "I'll carry you." He wasn't got a chance letting the ducks out. So that's the I know all them things now.
Well, what about had you a dog? You were talking about a cat there, Mick.
Yeah.
A black cat.
Yeah.
There's seemingly a black dog seen in this part of the country.
Well, I never really heard much about the black dog. The only thing I ever heard about
Yeah,
different spot dog, which are
shining
stand
black.
we all know the dog Keenan. Did you ever hear tell about? Did you ever hear dog Keenan at night? Did you?
Oh yeah.
Like it was a kind of a.
Whinging of them.
Yeah, and people at one time thought like if they heard this dog that there was somebody had died, like, you know.
Oh,
The dog would be keen and it would be a death, like, you know. If you went out at night then and heard the dog keen and like it shivers up your back,
you'd
you know.
be worried. You'd be worried about it, like.
You would.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was all them kind of.
Was the black dog seen at certain stretches around here, Tommy?
Yeah, there was a dog seen. Yeah. My father met him one night on the lane here beside us.
Yeah.
He had heard about it when he moved up to this part of the country, like.
Yeah.
That was in 1935.
Aye, yeah.
But he was down in this place, this nice, that time you have to bag doors.
Yeah.
After the trash they'd be thrown loose into a barn, like.
Yeah.
And you'd have to, all have to be bagged.
Yeah.
You'd get the sacks off of the merchant, wherever they be gone.
Yeah.
And you'd fill them up. Then the lorry would come and collect them, but he was coming up this lane this night about, it was 1:30.
Yeah.
And we met your man going down walking. My father was coming up the lane, and of course he wouldn't see anything either, it would be black dark.
Yeah.
We just happened to see the spot near him,
Yeah.
and just walked out by his legs and kept going.
Aye. Yeah.
But he had heard the story before that,
Yeah.
but he seen it for himself that night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I heard him when he come in, or I heard him sometime after.
Yeah.
It kind of gave him a bit of a fright, like.
And you often heard this thing about, is there what do we call these raheens? Did you ever hear raheen or a moose or?
Oh yeah.
I remember my mother talking about it after a threshing or a hay putting in. That time lads all had their own fork and you see him coming with the fork, all was on their shoulder, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or either this man had disturbed or had done something with a moat or whatever, but the threshing and all, he was at the threshing and walked away at the threshing all day, and I was coming dusk, like, you know, going up across a hill home, out across, you know, at that time they crossed the country. And he was seen in the skyline, if you like, crossing the hill and the fork on his shoulder.
On his shoulder.
And never seen after. Vanished.
Aye.
Yeah. The last sighting of him was crossing the hill and the fork on his shoulder.
The man never was seen after.
Never was found. Never was found. No.
Could he meddle with a raheen?
Yeah. That's what they said, and they said that that time they were talking about that whatever spirits or the little people or whatever had met him on top of the hill.
Yeah.
They met him and took him.
Yeah.
There's probably some answer to
Yeah.
He vanished.
The holy man. Never was seen.
Never was seen after.
Jesus, square that now.
Yeah.
But of course that's going on still, or has been going on for the years.
Going on still, yeah.
It's
It is.
disappeared.
Yeah, people disappear for one reason or another, you know.
Yeah. Mightn't be raheens or anything.
No.
But up the country, the other side of Hackettstown there, I heard about these people. They said they'd put a back kitchen to their house.
Yeah.
And it wasn't some of the building was done, but the woman in the house was out this day washing her clothes there.
Yeah.
You know, at that time they have a baton, they should be scrubbing away there.
Yeah.
And this little man is supposed to have walked into the door. There was a door on it, like, you know, it wasn't finished, but it was there where they lay out of it. Yeah. And he said to her, he said, make sure now and put a window in that side of that back kitchen and a window there.
Yeah.
Maybe the door was there, of course, that had it done.
Yeah.
And he says, you won't be touched. And he disappeared.
Yeah.
But reckon after that's what that was about.
Yeah.
That there was a Raheen, say, over there.
And wanted a view of the other one as well.
Same, that's what he told her, if they could save from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
And they never were molested. They went ahead with their back kitchen and they finished it. And
well, I know.
He with this little man was supposed to look into the door.
Yeah. Well, I know 2 places. It's now 100 mile away from us. There was a graveyard in the middle of one.
Yeah.
Still there to present day, good short here.
Yeah.
And the man who originally owned the place, his father before him didn't touch it, but he put up a hay shed beside it or whatever, and the hay was pitched in, you know, the shed, there was a big kind of a stand, and the cemetery was up here, and I was in it. I had to pitch the hay into the shed and all out this, and the headstones were knocked down and what, you know. But anyway, to make a long story short, that man went up the lane out of that place.
There you are.
Sold it.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get an awful lot for it. And the man that come in after him, the place was bought for him, and I think there was half the money borrowed, and the other, his father had paid it down, and he hadn't a lot to pay off on the place.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, a very good farm, in good order.
Mm.
And he started now at the other end of the shed. He had a big loader and he started poking. And a neighbour of ours went down into the yard one day and seen what he was doing, and he said to him, "You are going too far." He says, "That's a cemetery." He says, "For starters," he says, "you don't own it. But this is a cemetery, don't touch it. You've gone too far." That man went up the place out. I went out up the lane out there.
Yeah, graveyard.
And you know all the, and the next man that came into it, he's still there, but nearly all the land is sold. It's all gone.
Was that the same place? There was a bad accident in it as well?
Yeah, there was. And they're gone. And that place, the farm is very little of the field here, but the whole farm is broke up and gone. And there's another farm up this way.
Right.
And I remember the man coming into it years and years and years ago. But there was a raheen or a moat or whatever in it. But he put up a shed in it. And when the grant man came, he said, "Really, I shouldn't be giving you a grant." He said, I shouldn't give you a grant. Because you're built on ground that you don't own, or...
I say be that.
Yeah.
He had no money for that.
But I heard after that the priest had said to him, he had asked the priest's advice on this.
Oh,
you know, the priest said, "Look, forget it, go ahead and build your shed."
Aye.
But to this day, that entire family has gone out of there.
Bit of hockey.
They're still alive. The man himself that bought the place is not alive.
Aye.
But their whole family is alive. And
but they're not there now.
No, the name of them is not in heaven. They're gone.
Now,
maybe it would happen anyway. But I mentioned this to a sister of mine there only last night actually. I just threw up about things like that. You know the way when you get together here.
Oh yeah, we always talk, sure.
I started to talk to her about this, and she said, "Sure, our place at home," she said, "Sure, Clonsilla," she says, "there was dials were in that." And she said to me, "There's no dials in it today."
Yeah.
So she was trying to
counteract it that way. It was only just happened like.
I said, "There is no dials in it."
Yeah.
But I said the place never was sold. I said the dials were our relations and our family.
Yeah.
And it was handed from the Dials because of marriage, like a Dial married a Higgins.
Oh yeah, well that'd be natural enough, sure.
And I said, "Now it was handed down to my father, and then my father handed it down to Jimmy, and now Jimmy has handed it down to his son." So I said, "It's the same family." And I said,
no, there'd be nothing.
But there's other places were sold. So what do you call that look, or what? I don't know what you call it, but there's a neighbour of mine, very close neighbour of mine now, and there's a big moat in the middle of the field. And he wouldn't touch it himself, or he wouldn't anyone else touch it.
Oh Jesus, it'd be right trouble.
Yeah, but his father before him, and he's there and he's farming well, he's not married, and he wouldn't touch it, no way. You know. Now, you could touch him, you could move him, and maybe nothing had happened, but at the same time...
No, it's not worth it. No, but I assure you. Yeah.
You know, there's ground enough, if you know what I mean, isn't it?
Yes, sir. What ground does a moat take up? Nothing.
So that's about the size of it.
Yeah, but there's farmers, just this extra little bit, it count a lot like.
Oh, God, I would.
Yeah, but that happened above Crosspatrick. That's the name of that graveyard.
Yeah.
Crosspatrick. That church was level in that. And the 3 men that was the instigation of it.
Are all gone.
Yeah. Something happened to them.
Oh, yeah.
I know what happened to two of them, but the third man, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they didn't end up well, I don't know.
But your man, I was talking about that other place, that first farm I was talking about there. And neither of these men needed to bore into this cemetery or touch it.
At all.
But the middleman that was in it was curiosity. Maybe, I don't know what it was, like born away. You know.
He should have had other things to play with, really, besides touching them.
Nice man, but he just didn't. He was the very same as somebody had driven him out of the place. He went up the lane.
Yeah, there you are.
With practically nothing.
Yeah.
You know. And it was a fine place when he was landed into it, you know.
The hell of man. Good farm and everything, great.
Best of a farm, yeah.
And this thing is on the outskirts of it, like.
It's in the middle of it, down in the yard.
It's in the middle of it.
It's not in the middle of the farm, but it's in the middle of his yard. But it doesn't make any difference if there's a cemetery there. If you want to build a shed or build anything, he had lots of room to go anywhere else.
Anywhere else, like.
Yeah,
of course you would. But talking about ghosts, was that? Anyway, yeah. What was I going to say there?
Well, I remember. Sorry, Tommy, go ahead. Can you hear
Ned Breslin,
talking
about meeting this ghost. Ned was coming home in the pictures in Arthur one night on his bike.
Yeah.
Ned now wouldn't be soft or he wouldn't be faint-hearted or nervous or anything. But coming along, he had turned in at where the moat is on the corner bed. A little shop just to go by that, the tin shop.
Yeah.
Coming on up along from Murphy's. There's a kind of a little bend in the road there. But Murphy's had bought that place down under the road, same way.
Yeah, Hannon's.
Yeah. They had a rick of hay in it. Shed wasn't on it, I think.
Yeah.
But we got Ned coming on his bike, the grandest you ever seen. You know the way Ned would go on. God, he says, I seen this thing in the middle of the road. A big black object. Jeez, he said the hair stood on the back of me neck. Stopped dead. Didn't know what it was. Jeez, he left the bike down in the ditch and he said he'd be ready then if he had to run or whatever. And God, what was it at the end of it? Now it moved on. Moved on that bit and up. There's a new lane there headed for Shersheen, like.
Yeah.
This thing moved in off the road. And sure, whoever lived up there, they were after going down to the rick of hay across the road and taking they had a rope. What do you call a brass na hay, was it?
Yeah.
There was a name on it. You spread your rope out on the ground.
Throw your hay on it.
And throw the hay on it there and big bundle, he put it up on his back and was heading on. That's what Ned
seen your man go with the hay.
God, he said the hair stood on the back of my neck. There was a load of hay in the middle of the road. But then there was a woman seen on that road too, wasn't there?
Don't know that.
Carrying a little bucket.
Aye.
Did you ever hear about her?
No.
And she used to be she was seen on the top road up here.
Aye.
Where the wind farm is now there.
Well,
I don't know what. But whatever she was on, I think that was latter years really, Mick.
Yeah.
Do you remember certain time coming up to Christmas there'd be a lot of farmers reared turkeys?
That's right. Sure, that was as good as saving. It was like a piggy bank.
It was a piggy bank for the woman at the house or the man at the house, wherever it went. Sure, I went to the place anyway.
Yeah.
But seemingly, whatever, that lady, she was making different parts of the country, was she?
Oh no, that
To say there was turkeys stole them at that time.
All right, yeah.
Remember? There's farmers claimed out.
Yeah.
Whether she had anything to do with that now or not.
Probably had, yeah. But I remember you knew Mort Sullivan at the Barley.
Oh, well, yeah.
And where Bartle Esmond, you know how Bartle Esmond is up the lane, and there's a dwelling house up in the top of his yard there.
Oh yeah.
And a big clock in the porch. No one lived in it for
Yeah.
years. But
That was a part of the big house, of course.
Well, there were different people living in it. Mick Higgins lived in it one time, and I think there was Armstrong, that were related to Seamus Bulger, lived in it before that. Actually, it would have been the...
You're Seamus now. Seamus,
it would have been the Esmonds, the Stewarts that would have been in Esmond.
Oh, yes, they lived in that way back.
The Stewart's house, yeah.
Special houses.
But Mort Sullivan was visiting Hayden in that one night, winter's night, and Mort went out of our house. There was you could go behind the house, and there was an opening in the wall. See, there's a wall all around that place, a big concrete
That's right.
wall.
Oh yeah.
And he went out to go up to Barnard Lane for home. And he arrived back an hour later at Hayden's door again. Couldn't get home.
The lane?
Yeah.
Well, had he to cross a field now? No, there was no
There'd
field
be no
involved.
There'd be no field on
Just
it.
a
The
lane.
road, go up the back of the house, out through the hole in the wall, onto the lane, and that lane would have brought him straight to his own. And an hour and a half later, he arrived back at Hayden's door, said he couldn't get home.
Couldn't he have?
He told me that himself. And he said Mick Hayden went out with him. And I think he went down the other way the next time, down by where Barley has the workshop, out through the front gate, and back up and walked on up the lane.
Not bothering him.
And say him on up the lane.
Probably could have turned around and went back.
He must have turned the wrong way or something when he went out through the hall. Out.
Yeah.
He would have come in through the gate, you see, when he went out through that gap in the wall. Now,
Yeah.
he believes himself, Mort is dead, long dead, and Hayden is long dead, they're all long gone.
Yeah.
But he believed that somebody took him around that way. Somebody brought They couldn't, someone wouldn't let him go home.
Well, here's a story, something similar. The Kennys that lived over here, just where Seamus is living now, Annie Kenny and my mother here.
Yeah,
Annie nearly lived here with her.
Aye, and she was his sister Jerry's.
Yes, she was ended up Seamus's mother, Seamus Doyle's mother. Annie Kenny was. She married Charlie Doyle.
Charlie Doyle, yeah.
Then Molly married.
And the other one married
John Doyle,
John Doyle of
Kilkenny,
Yeah,
the Undertaker.
that's right.
But my mother used to, when Annie would be going back over at night, and he was only a young woman at the time.
Yeah.
My mother would go. There was 2 fields. There was 2 Mick.
Yeah.
That time, it's all in one field there now, like.
Yeah.
I levelled that ditch years ago.
Yeah.
But she'd leave Annie to the stile.
Yeah.
That stile was a part of that mass pat.
Yeah.
Went over under Miller's there.
Right.
And she'd leave Annie to there, and my mother come home.
Yeah.
Annie just had to run up the back of the ditch to her house, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course the talk had been prattling along. And my mother turned around to come home.
Yeah.
And she just to come across that field, out through the gap, and over to the field we Threshing now, roughly.
Right,
That's big, you know, out there.
Down there,
And my father was sitting at the fire above, waiting for her to come back. Naturally, she'd be back in certain time, half an hour or less, quarter of an hour. Just was no sign of her this night. And she come to that gap too and couldn't find it in that field. She walked and walked and walked.
And couldn't find the gap.
And couldn't find the gap. She eventually did. Come on home. I remember her telling that herself.
Well, I can believe that up to a point, because one evening, and I don't know, Leslie Hill outside of Arklow had land rented up on Killorler.
Yeah.
I think up off the road going over to Sean Killorn's at the upper side.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
And there was 2 of us sent with an old Ford lorry to get a load of corn out of a bin up in the top of this field.
Yeah. Be up this side of Breslins there along somewhere.
I come down away evening and a massive fog down. We like to never get out of that field. Couldn't find the gate.
With the lorry?
We had to walk. We had to keep walking around with the bounce ditches in the fog. I know it was the fog had done it, like. But you think when you'd have come into a field, and your direction, you'd say the gates
straight down across or up across or across,
And I wouldn't mind if I was on my own. I'd say, well,
our head went a little.
Our head is going to be hurt something wrong. But there was 2 of us.
Yeah.
And we said, well, how the hell are we going to get out of here?
Yeah.
And eventually, walking, we found the gate. But by the time you get back to the lorry, then
Yeah. You couldn't leave one at the gate because
because you
couldn't
find them then.
there's no nothing.
But eventually we did get out like, but we had some struggle for to try and find the gate.
Could you talking, huh?
Yeah.
Do you ever hear the old people saying you take your coat off and turn it inside out to get out of the field if you get lost? Do you ever hear that?
No,
Yeah.
No, but that's even without at one time Tom Berrigan said, well, Jack Murray's old place there.
Yeah.
If you went in on his land in the daytime, if you went in many fields,
you'd never get over.
Never get over.
I heard about that part of it.
Because the growth and everything had went in halfway in on the fields.
Yeah.
And every ditch looked alike to you, and you couldn't see.
Yeah.
You know, if ditches are clean, you're able to see all around. You can see the gate.
Look over across them a bit.
But you could get lost there. Yeah.
What else was I going to say there? Oh yeah, Mahi Butler. Where Mahi lived above in.
Yeah, but the father's place there.
Yes. What's the name of that? Beyond the foundry there.
Yeah. It's Kilniner, is it? Not Kilniner,
it's
no?
not. Well, yeah, it's.
Yeah. I don't know what they call
There's a name. There's a name on that spot. But anyway, Mahi used to go down at night time to. What was the farmer you went on over the road a little bit for a hulling and turn down?
Oh, Cabinet?
No. I got a repair.
Somerses?
What was the Summers?
Dan Summers?
Remember him talking about it.
But no, you come down from Butler's down the long
lane. Head on past Butler's.
Oh, no.
Right now, Charlie Fleming would have bought this place after. Oh God, what was their name?
It was Charlie's place, like it, eh?
It wasn't Charlie's now at this time. But Charlie used to go down to visit.
Yeah, no, they're near Dick Fannon's, yeah.
This side of it.
Only passed over the other day.
And and Mahi come out of that place at night and come straight up across the field and hop out on the road there near his own house.
Yeah.
And he was doing it there for ages, like.
Yeah.
He was only young at the time, of course. And this night the same thing happened. He come on. No way. Couldn't find the gap, the stile or whatever was there. Maybe it was a gate, I don't know.
Yeah, couldn't find it.
No. He walked and now he got kind of afraid.
Yeah.
And he ended up below near Kevners of Tom Coyle.
Yeah.
Do you know where
down
Dick,
at the T
remember
junction
that
below.
little house that Dick Miller lived in?
Yeah,
Up along the,
Dick Miller and Detz lived on the corner below. Or there.
Yeah, well, you'd have to go down and turn over for Detz, but Dick Miller lived back up.
Dick lived up on
hill
this.
there,
Yeah. I know Dick
and that's where Mahi ended up that night.
in Miller's.
He got out there somewhere and walked up the road then, had to walk up and turn at the foundry and back over to his own house.
Yeah.
Got lost, could not find that gate that night.
Which was a place.
I remember him telling that himself.
And the roads can confuse you, and this only happened. Greg Kevin at Ballinahorn, that place was sold only here in the last few months or so, and you know, down below Captain Priest.
Don't know now,
If you're going down the Ballykinnew Road,
yeah,
and instead of turning right for Comolan, do you know Devrix is on the crossroads?
Oh yes, well, yes.
Yeah.
The name, what crossroads is that? Yeah.
Smith's Crossroads.
Smith's.
Yeah. You turn right for Comolan, and you turn left then to go down by where old Hardy is now, or Captain Priest is.
Yeah.
And you come down to a T junction then, and you turn right for Killena.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And over along that road is where Greg Kavanagh is. And I've been in that place time and time again. And for some reason or other, when I come out of Greg Kavanagh's yard, I go the wrong way to come home.
The holiday.
Even when I'm thinking of it.
Yeah.
You know? And the last day...
Happened to you lately now, or
this happened to me only in the last... Only 4 weeks ago.
Bit longer. Yeah.
The only thing put me right was the last time. I still keep thinking he's on the opposite side of the road. And now maybe people could say you're thick, but no, you can't be thick that long. Like every time you go, you can't.
It might affect you another time.
And the one thing that made me sure was that when I was going down to Greg Evans, the auctioneer signs were facing me.
All right. Yeah.
And I knew then when I just looked in the mirror and I could see the auctioneer signs, so I said, I'm right this time.
You're right this time. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. And I don't know them.
And you were okay this time, like.
Yeah, I was okay this time. But other times I had to go and I went the wrong way and had to turn around and come back. Because I knew when I went so far on the road that I was going wrong. And I know them roads. Yeah. The same as I know Ballygara or came up because I delivered stuff.
You would have delivered stuff out, in all them places.
Yeah, I walked out Ballyfad Creamery, I walked out Kilmuckwick. Clon there where we were talking about, I was down in all them places in Penders. Actually years ago while I was there, Tom Pender was in America. And he had bought that place down there. And Mick Carroll got that place he rented that place, I think, at Penders for 5 years. He had it for nothing for 5 years to drain it.
Oh, yes.
And I drew hay with that place with Jim Carroll.
Aye, yeah.
Yeah, because
Jim Carroll,
Mick gave them the hay, give them some hay off.
Oh, yes.
And still Greg Kevin's place confused me every time. So whether Greg was sending me the wrong way.
There's something sending you, Mick.
Yeah.
And you never done anything else down that country?
No, like, never done any different.
You never rode a bike down to see anyone, or?
No, and I'm very good. And I didn't. No, strange to me saying, I didn't. And anybody down that side.
I'd imagine now that's you're getting miss you.
No, above all countries. But I tell you what, I met the grandest of people down there. And there was one man down there, I still remember him, and there's a good many families of him down there. And he was the nicest gentleman I ever met in my life. And that was Matt Cardiff. Did you ever tell him Matt Cardiff? Matt had no family, I think. Is that right?
No, I don't know, Mick, now tell you the truth.
Again, what brought me there was I'd done a bit of work at milking machines for a while, and I was in Matt Cardiff's. And he was the nicest man I ever met. Really easy going, lovely man.
Yeah, there's people that stick out in your mind always.
He was one in particular, yeah. And
Matt was a great writer, a great historian too.
Was he?
He was, yeah.
I never knew that, but I was always sorry that I didn't go back.
To see him, like, and keep in touch with him.
Exactly, yeah.
I've been the same with people, yeah.
And there was lads down around Kilmuckridge there, Kevin Pender and Tony Cleary and Sonny Fortune, there lived across from the old Creamery. You have the best intentions. And something happened.
I know, sure, I'm the same here.
I'll get back.
Jeez, God, I'm scandalous. I'm violent now.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
See, when
you'd have the time of to do it. It's not whether you would have time or not, I don't know, but you would if you wanted it.
And when I was down that side, when I used to be working out them Creameries, all the milkmen were coming with the trailers. There was no tankers or. And it was a great place. I got to know more farmers. The Creameries, like all coming.
Yes, but sure, that was a big talking point, the Creamery.
It was. Jimmy Murphy, Jimmy was from down that side. Glascarry. Jimmy drew milk to Ballycanoe. I think he might have drew to Kilmuckridge for a while. Because I think Kilmuckridge might have closed first. I don't know which one closed first.
And then
you had Jim Hobbs then drawn into Ballycanoe or into Kilmuckridge. And there was Larry Moyden down there and Martin Mannion and Joe Daly, all them guys. Yeah.
They used to have a job with poor old Tom Hall.
Yeah.
Not the Castletown brother. He lived over the Clonrunny Road. He lived over near where Derek is living.
All right, yeah.
Our Derek.
Yeah.
Well, he used to come with his van.
He'd become an inch creamery now.
He'd be coming to inch creamery there.
Yeah.
And of course, he was a great man to talk and have the crack and everything. Loved everyone. He was a grand man. And but he'd go take the milk out of the van and he'd have no milk in it.
The boys would be gone with it.
No, he would have forgotten.
Oh God.
The woman would be waiting. Or no, he wasn't. Was he married? Whatever. He'd have left the milk. He was like that, like. He'd done things like that.
Sure, I remember, man.
Remember the lads giving out because they'd have waited and they'd be mad to unload him because a few cans in the back of the van on it.
Well, I remember, man.
Jeez, he'd open the doors and he'd laugh at that, of course. Then he'd have to turn around, go home and go back for the milk.
A man come to Inch from Ballycoog and he wanted to get, he had no milk that day, but he wanted to get a bit of stuff out of the store, a bit of meal and whatever. And he went in, pulled up his car, went into the shop, come out, and he had no trailer. And Jim Kavanagh and Robert Flynn were in the yard, and of course when they seen him with no trailer, they left. And now he accused them of taking the trailer man. And he got vexed. And he was going to, and I'm going to that. And he said to him, look, the joke was over now, tell me what you do with my trailer. And he hadn't died, was listening to the story going on. and he had the good sense. What did he do? He rang this man's home place, rang the wife.
Yeah, oh, I know the man now you're talking about, yeah.
And she says, he thinks somebody took the trailer on him down here. He says, can you banny that? She says, the trailer's outside the door here.
Standing in the yard? Yeah.
There was some water in the trailer.
Yeah.
And while he was getting on in to get money or whatever, he unhooked the trailer from the car and he heeled it up.
Heeled it up.
Left the trailer lined up to let the water drain out because he was getting mail.
Yeah.
He came out then all excited, jumped into the car and away he goes, Tinch.
Yeah.
I left the trailer at home.
But he would be killed over that.
He was killed over
but I bet you he was killed over the giving out part.
He was.
Yeah. Because he was... Because he used to deal with us behind the shop.
The boys used to have to disappear for a while when he come again because they didn't want to be laughing at him again. You know. So that's how simple how things and
how simple it can happen.
Yeah.
And that could happen to any of us.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing now, and we were just talking about the other day.
Happened to me here lately, now.
We'll wind the clock back a little bit to when we were talking about the horses and the tractors and
and
I don't know what you know, Church of Ireland would have done, but
well, should have done something similar, Mick.
Listen to the crops and all, when the crops will be sowed in June, I think there'll be Rogation days. Did you ever hear tell of them, no?
The which?
Rogation day, did you bless the crops yourself?
No.
And I think they were blessed with Easter water.
Oh yeah.
There was three Rogation days, any one of the three of them you could.
I say big of it.
Yes. And I remember my mother and father going out in the springtime, or in the June, and they'd go to Revealed with the holy water.
There you are.
And when all your cattle would be in for the winter.
Yeah.
When they'd be getting let out then, when the grass would have come on, the cattle were all sprinkled with holy water before
before the house, yeah. Oh yeah.
And the same story we'll say came when the binder was a very important piece of machinery.
It must have been
in your
after
yard.
the one machine, like.
And there wasn't a lot of sheds at home, but the binder was stuck in a shed like where there was a big job getting into it, like.
There you are.
It wasn't like just back her in and put her out like that. Every year then there'd be a big, I think there was a post under then that the shed used to have to be taken down.
With the Harley man.
To get this binder out.
To get her out, yeah.
And it'd be yoked up, whether it be the horses in the earlier days or the tractor.
Yeah.
And again, my mother would come with
a drop of holy water.
The holy water.
Yeah.
And I can still hear my father saying, we'll go ahead now in the name of God.
There you are.
And everything should
hold on. Yes.
And the same thing with the hay-mow machine or whatever.
Yeah.
There was all that.
The holy.
Yeah.
What did he say, Mick? We'll go now.
We'll go now in the name of God. Yeah. And sometimes say, please God, everything will work out over. That was a saying, I could hear it nearly still, and I'm talking again over 60 years, 60 years ago, you know. Yeah. But remember
that's a kind of gone though, isn't it?
Do you know, I tell you
you know, it's an awful pity.
It is.
Yeah, that it's an awful pity that some of them things are not carried on there.
Oh yeah, sure.
Even if it was only in a smaller way.
Smaller way or whatever, yeah. But
it's an awful. I think that's a shame.
But that was done year in year out like that. That holy water going around. Yeah. And another thing, I don't know whether you've ever done it or not, but in a thunderstorm, the holy water be taken out.
Oh yeah.
Around the house.
They put
heavy thunderstorm.
A certain wind in the house or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I heard about that now.
Yeah.
No, the Protestants didn't do that now, but they had their own little ways of respect and things you know. So.
Mass times, even them years ago when we were going to school that time, if you were going to Holy Communion, there was no Holy Communion given out at the last Mass in Gorey. No. Because you had to be fasting. You got no breakfast from the night before you go to Holy Communion. Yeah.
You got to be confirmed.
So, no, you confirm any Sunday.
Yeah.
Any Sunday if you were going like...
oh yes, for communion like.
For communion, you had to go an early Mass. Because they didn't have a late Mass because new people would be having their grub and whatever. And that thing is all gone now too, isn't it?
All gone.
Yeah.
There you are.
And sure...
you were saying as well to me, Mick, there the other day that even the tractors or the machinery, there'd be little medal tied to them, was that
There
right?
would. There'd be a miraculous medal. hung on the, actually there's a, I think there's no tractor at home, still the middle is
Still on it there?
Still in under the dash and
Did
still
it
hanging
hook
on
in,
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, to be honest, when a tractor, particularly come new or any tractor like there'd be a medal on it and they'd be left there, they'd be tied on with a big wire and they'd be, yeah.
But sure, that Allen threshing mill I have there, over in the shed there, still under there. There's a lovely one of them up over the bagging department there, in the back of it. Yeah. I can show it to you there.
And to this day I wouldn't touch them. I would even still be in favour, but even though I haven't in the car or truck, but still that time when you got a car or whatever you got,
you brought something.
Even I think I had one on a bike one time, a medal on a bike.
Oh, you find there was? Yes.
But I think that tractor, I'm not sure now, that tractor that was bought new, that has returned home now, you knew that.
Oh yeah, that's right. She had her here on the run.
Yeah, this is the tractor.
Jimmy drove her.
Yeah, this is the tractor was bought new in
1954. Isn't that?
And another
that doesn't happen often now.
Yeah, and another strange thing about that tractor now, if you want to be wonder at strange things happening, we often talked at home. I said R1548, that was the number of the tractor.
Right, yeah.
And we often wonder where did they end up?
Yeah.
And where would we go about trying to track it down or was it scrapped?
Yeah. Well, you was traded her. Your father would have traded.
Was traded to Frank Hayes. And we knew it went down Wexford way somewhere.
Oh, right, Hayes'
garage, we traded him for 35 there.
Oh, I pick up, yes.
And even Johnny below, we often talked.
Yeah, and he'd be travelling a good bit after tractors and
I even had a TVO Ferguson and I gave it to Jimmy a good many years ago and I said to him, look, that tractor will never be found. So there's a TVO Ferguson.
Oh, right.
We put the ZR1548 on that.
Oh, yeah.
The number.
Yes. You done this?
No, I said to him to do it.
All right.
He still has
the
tractor.
You gave him the tractor to do that with.
Yeah, but he never done it. It's still in the shed below, the tractor to TVO Ferguson. But anyway, getting around to Johnny then.
Yeah, no.
Johnny got sick and we still talked about this tractor, wouldn't it be great to find it?
Yeah.
He was there 2 weeks or 3 weeks dead. And that tractor,
Johnny was dead.
And that tractor appeared on Dundee.
Yeah, no.
And Jimmy's young lad recognised the number.
Yeah, young Jim. Yeah.
And they rang your man. Yeah. And him and Jimmy went straight down and bought the tractor.
Straight down, of course, yeah.
Brought her home.
And she's the genuine Ferguson.
There's it. Oh.
There's a coincidence now, isn't that great? Yeah.
And
so I've been looking at her.
I just looked at it again, say, just to be, to pick out different things maybe.
But in case the number was changed or something.
Whatever, yeah. But
which could have happened as well.
The 2 holes where my father put a mirror on it.
Aye,
on it. The 2 holes are there in it. No mirror on it. But the 2 holes.
Where the keyboard in the.
On the right hand side, where he put a mirror on it, yeah.
Oh, so she's the genuine.
And I went down, how it probably survived was a man that was, I think, bought the saw beat with a small beat saw.
Oh, right.
When the beat season was over, I went into the shed.
Probably went into a shed.
And then eventually the bigger beat saws came out and the tractor and they were taken out anymore.
And was that where the tractor or they picked her?
I think a man might have been he sounded like a lad didn't want to be asked too many questions. I don't know why.
But the tractor he bought and it never left that place,
seemingly never left that place, yeah.
The whole of that.
And the Rindactive, the young lad or a son of his was going to be completely restore it, or
probably maybe that man is dead, of course.
Even though it didn't need, the father and son is there still. Even though it didn't need to be restored.
Yeah.
Well, this could be a son of the man that bought it, and his grandson, if you like.
Oh, right, probably, maybe.
It would have been would have been the grandson was going to do it up.
Pay the whole, yeah.
And then got. Do you know the way young lads have all notions of?
Yeah.
And then he.
But he never touched it, mind you.
I think the father said he preferred to have a car, and he was going to sell it and buy a car. Or put the money towards a car, because you wouldn't buy a car at the price of the tractor anyway.
No. Yeah,
so the tractor, and he Jimmy done the road run here with.
Oh yeah, I don't know here, yeah. He'll do it again now in the spring, please God.
So that's
we're going to do that run again.
But what makes me wonder is that Johnny talked about it, and Jimmy talked about it, and Paddy and the women talked about it.
Yeah. And poor Johnny then.
And Johnny was only 2 weeks maybe.
2 weeks dead, yeah.
And Jimmy rang me and he said, Jim has spotted the tractor on the deal.
There's a coincidence where it is.
Yeah. And we still say that, I don't know whether, I say Johnny found it. That's the way I put it, like, you know.
Yeah. More than likely.
Yeah. So if you want to be...
Yeah. Same thing.
Believe that or whatever, you know.
There you are.
But as
the tractor appeared back home.
Yeah. It's a coincidence now, and that would be, let's see.
That's very rare that had happened.
And that tractor is a long, long time gone out of home.
Sure, she'd probably gone wet now. She was born in 54.
She was born in 54.
She was probably maybe 10 years, would she have been?
Now the only thing would have been done with Hayes would have probably put pistons in or something, because that tractor would have done a lot of going at home.
Yours would have done a lot of work with
it.
Well,
it would, because it was used as a car as well.
Yes.
And the tractor would have been doing everything like that.
Oh, sure, she was on the road every day. Doing something.
Yeah, and we done a little bit of work even with it.
Yes,
you know, so
that's right. That's what I was thinking of what I said. I remember Jimmy talking about that shot.
Well, it's definitely 55 year gone out at home, maybe, or 50 year anyway, I'd say. Would that be right?
Could have would or more, Mick.
More, maybe, yeah. And returned after just a few weeks after he died.
50, the middle 50, 60 years, probably about the 35 in the middle 60s.
Yeah, I forget. I can't think now, sure. Jesus, his garage is even shut down a good many years.
Just as sure it is.
Yeah.
That's a lovely story.
Yeah, well it is on the storm, like, and I tell you what, his granddad came home. You see, Jimmy is a little bit older than I am, and then I'm next to and then it's Johnny, like, and Johnny is the one that died actually, but it's nice that it's there. Jimmy is in the home place, like.
Yeah.
So his granddad had returned.
And the tractor's back home.
Back home, and he was there.
She's back home, yeah.
He was
I do read stories like that there in that English book, that tractor, what do they call her? Tractor book, tractor machinery.
Tractor machinery, yeah.
And you'd say that little story like that, innit?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them.
Because there would.
It never works out, because I've met many one trying to trace their tractor, do you know, and it just doesn't work out, you know, you're not...
yeah. Well, it happened there with Sammy Wilmington now. You have heard him talk about that 147.
Yeah, he got his own
bike. Or 148. No, 14. Which is a 148 or 147?
Yeah, I don't know. You see, you have to be... Another thing, you see, you have to be... Jimmy and Jim, when they seen this tractor on down there, they didn't tell your man that was our original tractor.
They said nothing?
No, they were afraid, you see.
Oh, jeez, yeah, they don't know. Yes.
They were afraid if he knew, like, that it'd be hard bought of him.
It'd be hard bought.
Yeah. So they said nothing.
They just went down and bought the tractor.
And when they had it loaded and tied down then and were ready to come home, they told him like that it belonged to the place and they were bringing it back again. Yeah, so I'm not saying he would have, but you can't take a chance like that, you know.
Oh no, it was too big a chance, yes, and Jimmy wanted the tractor and that was that.
Yeah.
There was someone looking out for him to get that tractor back, really, when you think
it was. Seemingly now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Poor Johnny passed away.
And I would have loved it to have come before he died, but anyway, it wasn't to be.
Seemingly not. No, wasn't to be.
No, but still.
Lads, I'm going to end with this because I can't believe how lovely the interview. I've never had such an easy interview because I've done nothing.
Right.
Normally I'm working, but the two of you are just brilliant together. Yeah, honest to God, I mean it. Yeah. I have to go on to get a child. That's what for school. But was there? I'm trying to figure out. There was a lovely turn to the whole interview, where you went starting with getting your tractor, which was completely foreign to so many of us, and then actually it comes back full circle.
The full circle and returning back home again. Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
And it had been talked about so many times. Yes, it had been.
You always wondered often, wondered first.
Yeah, I long for it, like,
because the county was being in the vintage so much as well. Yeah. That had a added to it, like.
And you see,
to get back your old tractor.
You take nowadays. I went to Rosslare and I have a pickup truck there for years, and I went down to Rosslare to pick up actually a tractor we bought in England for Johnny's birthday.
Oh,
that little 272 Alice Chalmer.
All right. They have that. I've seen
down
that.
Yeah. That was a surprise for Johnny's, because they have a little all-crop, real old Alice Chalmer combine.
Oh yeah, I know well. Yes.
And this Alice Chalmer tractor then was going to.
Oh right, Puller.
Yeah. And I went down to Rosslare then to get it off the boat, so you have to go into the office to get your...
Oh yeah, I would have, of course, yeah.
And the lady in the office asked me the number of the truck. And would you believe I had to go out to look at it?
Yeah.
Now
generally you would know.
That tractor that was bought in 1954, I never
Yeah, you have the number there in your head.
And the first car we got, is ZR 2491.
Bit of okay.
And the ZR 1548, the tractor. There's two numbers that was bought back in the 50s, and I never forgot them. And my own truck that I'm driving every day, I couldn't think of the number when she asked me. So that's you know how precious. That's how precious the tractor and the car were that time.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I remember the numbers clear. Yeah. But it's nice that it was nice that tractor returned.
Oh yeah.
Once again, do you know? So.
Yeah, God, it surely was.
Yeah.
Well, she's there now to stay.
Yeah, there to stay, and that's
But she come to the right place because Jimmy has other vintage stuff there as well. And
God, and he's very interested for a man. See, Jimmy now, he wouldn't be as well as he used to be. Like he's not, and he's as interested in.
As interested about mine wise and all that.
Yeah,
he's as good as ever.
And that
man to talk to
he'd
be. Jeez, he would.
Oh, he's a good head on machinery. He's a great man on a binder, combines. So him and Johnny, your man over in Wales, your man Martel Mars.
Oh yeah.
He had a binder, and he could not get this to make proper shaves or to tie or do anything for him. And Johnny was in Dorset. I was sick that year. I couldn't go, and Johnny and Jimmy headed to Dorset to the steam fair. And the two boys got the binder in your man's.
Martel's binder. Yeah.
And I don't know what plate they moved under at the Nutter or tobacco or whatever.
Yeah.
But when Martel come back, the boys had the binder whistling.
Bit of holy, man.
And they said he couldn't be stopped from mowing then. He mowed that much oats that he had to bale it with a round baler. He couldn't get it all picked up. They baled the shades in round bales. Did you know that? Did you ever hear tell that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, how do you manage that one then? Cut the cords off him?
No, he picked them up the way they were. He fed them to the cattle and he trashed them. And
yeah, he farms a lot there.
Oh, he did, yeah. He'd have probably 400 acres there.
Yeah, so I never was in his place.
Yeah, well, he's too big. He's two big places there, yeah.
The hell of man.
Yeah, sure, he's a lifesaver for us when we go over, like, it's a base.
He was a half a job, yeah. You're at home when you're with him.
Oh yeah, she was saying with that tractor that we bought, like, he brought that and put it on the boat, you see.
Yeah.
Put it in the ferry. And I paid him then the next time when I met him.
Oh yeah.
I had nothing to do, only go down to Rosslare and pick it up.
Pick up the tractor and bring it on.
Yeah.
But sure, that happened to us, Gordon and myself, we were in Cambridge.
Yeah.
And I had a Zozo Jeep at the time here.
Right, yeah.
And we got bed and breakfast, B&B down about 3 or 4 miles from Sutton. That's where that auction is.
Yeah.
That Cambridge auction. Right,
yeah.
It's a good behaviour, Cambridge.
It is, yeah.
But because anyway, I was sailing up this morning up to the auction, mad to look at, get into of course, and this lady gave a roar in the middle of the road and stopped. Yeah. Filled the road with smoke. Yeah. The Jeep. Yeah. Jesus, Gordon was driving. Jesus, this is it now. Pulled in. Of course, he stopped just for look. She was in top gear and he locked her dead on the road. Yeah. This is what stood to her. Yeah. Left her there, wondering what would we do. Traffic flying by, main road. Yeah. Sat there for a few minutes, looked at the engine. Of course, you might as well be looking at the cooker there, the stove is. And we were going to Tum and we didn't know what to do really. Trailer behind her. Yeah. Because the man, I stood there anyway and says, what's going to happen? Walked up to the Jeep, hopped into her, turned the key and off she went. She said, Gordon, jump in quick, like that. And I was afraid to touch the throttle, even, in case I'd stop her again. Yeah. And I was driving now. Yeah. But just we nursed her on up along and into the car park. Yeah. So you're grand now, we were there, we're at the auction now. Yeah. And I met your man there.
Martel?
And telling him the story, yeah. And well, he says, if you buy anything, he says, get it back, if you can get it back to my place, it'll be there, it'll be snug enough, you know. Yeah. And we ended up that day buying that W4 Internationals over there in the shed, and a little auto. Yeah. And says, Gordon, he says, we'll drive her, we'll chance her. Yeah. No, says I, we're not chancing her. Got up the next morning, or we were loaded, got up the next morning at the pub where we were staying, and I said, I'll drive.
Yeah.
And the lady drove the whole way back across them four back to Pembroke. And we drove her on to here with that load behind her.
Yeah.
That was the turbo had went on her.
All right, yeah.
And just for luck, what happened is, if she'd have been let rev, as you know, the engine would go in bits.
That's right.
Because it's the oil out of the engine, the turbo sucks in suddenly then, and the engine will fire on the waste oil or on the engine oil. Yeah. That's what happened. Well, between our diesel and oil.
And there'll be a cloud of smoke over.
And,
There'll be a cloud of smoke over then, yeah.
So I nursed her along. There was some chance that never again would I wouldn't do that now. Yeah. The M4, Mick, like the size of that main road. Yeah. So you're in on it, you'd be nabbed in a second with the police, like
you surely would.
Blocking the road, or you'd have to pay then to get her off of it.
You would. That's where you need your...
I'd kind of left out tractors a bit dearer.
Would be dearer. And you'd be like long ago, and you'd be buying them, you wouldn't have the money, maybe.
You wouldn't. It's a fact.
That's the way.
But,
we're bored you stiff now, have we?
You haven't, your arse bored me stiff.
Yeah.
Yes, I've listened to these for hours.